Okay, what we're going to do here is we're trying to completely factor 5y cubed minus 125y. And so what we want to do is we could mathematically work this out and get the answer. But let's say we couldn't do this. Well, what happens is whenever you factor anything, it's still exactly the same thing that it was before. So think about the graph being the exact same thing, just written differently. And so we just basically go to Document, File, New Document. We don't want to save our old, and we're going to do graphs. Now, I will state a couple of things, and I'll tell it when we start putting these guys in. And I think it's just because it's the TI Inspire calculator. So when we try to graph, okay, so we got 5. We don't want to use 5. We always want to use x when we graph, okay? That's just the way it is. 5, y, in this case, x cubed, all right, subtract 125x. So we graph it. So what we're trying to do is find the graph that will actually sit on top of it. So we go to Menu, number 3, Graph. We will put in a function. And so when we put in a function in this case, we are going to put in, and this one isn't going to be a big one, but I want to go ahead and do it anyway. So I'm going to put parentheses around this. And the only reason I'm doing it is because just to get consistent. Because this calculator, it could be that it is a function instead of an equation. And we can check this out later. But I'm going to go ahead and type this in. And graph. Notice that graph does not lay on top of the other one. I did this earlier and I didn't put that in parentheses and it didn't show up. And I can show that very quickly because all you got to do is remove the parentheses. And so let's go back up and I'll show you what I meant. Here, the parentheses around the first piece. So I'm just going to delete all this and just put x parentheses 5x squared, subtract 25, close parentheses, enter, and notice there was this issue. We already know this one doesn't work, but what I would do is make sure I put parentheses around the first value no matter what. So we do parentheses, we'll do b, 5x, again we're replacing all the y's with x's, and you can do that with any problem you have. The only time you really can't do that is when you have an x and y mixed into the problem, or x, y, z, multiple things. And that kind of causes some issues. So here we got 5x, and we're going to square that. Close parentheses, open parentheses, and then we're going to have x subtract 25, close parentheses. Graph, notice that graph does not match this, so therefore it's wrong. We go to Menu, Graph, Function, and then we'll arrow back up. This one's wrong, so let's just go ahead and delete it. So let's do C, which is, and again, parentheses 5x, close parentheses, x plus 5, close parentheses, open parentheses, x subtract 5, close parentheses, graph, and notice they match. C's our actual answer. Again, if I did not put those parentheses around that first piece, for some crazy reason, it doesn't work. And I'll show that one more time to you. We'll go to graph here under function, arrow back up. I'm going to read all this out. And I just put 5x in, parentheses, x plus 5, close parentheses, open parentheses, x subtract 5, close. And then when we hit graph, notice we have an issue. So let's try one more thing and then we'll quit. We know the answer is C and we know parentheses are important. Let's go to graph and let's try equation. And, you know, here you kind of know which type of equation that you have to use and stuff. So if you don't know what it is, then and in which form it's in, then it's probably not wise to go. So let's just forget that. So, best method for you would be whatever you type in your function is go ahead, put parentheses around the first piece, parentheses around the next piece, and I think this could just be because of the way it's multiplied and stuff. And then when you hit graph, it would actually work, okay? And so again, you go to menu, graph, function, I arrow back up. Notice here we have to put 2 minuses. That one didn't work. We put plus in. We hit enter. Notice